2018, construction workers in the Egyptian city of Alexandria were digging the foundation for a new building when their shovels hit something 5 meters below the surface. It was a sarcophagus. Black granite, roughly 2.5 meters long, 1.5 meters wide, nearly 2 meters tall. It weighed approximately 30 tons. A layer of mortar between the lid and the body of the coffin was still intact, which meant that it had not been opened since the day it was sealed more than 2,000 years ago. Nobody had known it was there. The building site had passed every preliminary survey. The construction permits had been approved. And yet, sitting directly beneath the planned foundation was one of the largest ancient coffins ever found in the city. An observer from the Ministry of Antiquities had been present on site, as required by Egyptian law for most construction projects in Alexandria. When the sarcophagus emerged from the earth, the observer halted the work. Archaeologists were called in, and another Egyptian construction project was put on hold while the past forced its way back to the surface. This is not an unusual event in Egypt. It is the norm. Egypt is a country built on top of itself. The modern cities of Cairo, Luxor, Alexandria, and Aswan sit directly on top of ancient ones. In many places, the gap between a modern basement and a pharaonic tomb is measured in meters, sometimes less. The Nile Valley and its delta, where the vast majority of Egypt's population has always lived, are also where the vast majority of Egypt's dead have always been buried. The living and the dead have shared the same narrow strip of habitable land for 5,000 years. The result is a situation with no equivalent anywhere else on Earth. In Egypt, you cannot dig a foundation, lay a sewer pipe, expand a road, or excavate a parking lot without a reasonable chance of hitting something ancient. The country's antiquities laws require an observer from the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities to be present at virtually every significant construction project in areas of archaeological sensitivity. And in Egypt, almost everywhere is an area of archaeological sensitivity. The law is clear. When something is found, construction stops. The site must be assessed, documented, and either excavated or protected before any further work can proceed. The artifacts belong to the state. The penalties for unauthorized digging or trafficking in antiquities include prison time and significant fines. And yet, despite these protections, the discoveries never stop coming, because the sheer density of what lies underground overwhelms every system designed to manage it. Consider what has emerged from the ground in recent years at a single site. Saqqara. Saqqara is a vast necropolis, roughly 30 kilometers south of Cairo. It served as the burial ground for Memphis, the ancient capital, for nearly the entire span of Egyptian civilization. The site stretches 5 miles along the edge of the desert, and its most famous feature is the Step Pyramid of Djoser, built approximately 4,700 years ago, the oldest large-scale stone structure on Earth. But the pyramids are only what is visible on the surface. Beneath them, the ground is honeycombed with burial shafts, tomb chambers, and underground galleries that have been accumulating bodies and artifacts for over 3 millennia. In 2018, archaeologists at Saqqara discovered the tomb of Wahti, a royal purification priest from the 5th dynasty, dating back roughly 4,400 years. The tomb's walls were covered in painted reliefs depicting scenes of daily life, hunting, and religious ritual. It was described as one of the most significant finds of the decade. A year later, in the same area, excavators uncovered hundreds of mummified animals and statues, including mummified crocodiles, snakes, scarab beetles, lion cubs, mongooses, and falcons. Then, in September 2020, archaeologists lowered themselves into a burial shaft 12 meters below the surface and found something that stopped the entire Egyptian archaeological community. 27 sealed wooden sarcophagi stacked on top of each other, their original paint still vivid, their lids still closed. They had not been opened since the day they were buried, roughly 2,500 years ago. Over the following weeks, the number climbed. 59 coffins, then 80, then over 100. By November 2020, more than 100 delicately painted wooden coffins from the 26th dynasty had been pulled from several shafts in the same area, along with 40 statues, funeral masks, and 1,000 ceramic amulets. Egypt's antiquities minister stood before the cameras at the foot of the step pyramid and said what archaeologists at Saqqara had been saying for years. The site has not revealed even 1% of its secrets. He was not exaggerating. Only a fraction of Saqqara's 5-mile length has been systematically excavated. Beneath the sand, shafts descend to depths of 20 meters or more. The lowest levels, where the wealthiest and most important burials were placed, remain largely untouched. Archaeologists estimate that thousands of additional tombs, coffins, and artifact caches lie buried across the site. In January 2021, yet another excavation revealed 52 additional burial shafts containing the oldest sarcophagi ever found at Saqqara, dating back 3,000 years. A luxurious mud brick shrine was uncovered 24 meters below ground level, the deepest shaft found at the site to date. The digging has not stopped since. In May 2022, 250 more sarcophagi were unveiled alongside 150 bronze statues and a 9-meter-long papyrus scroll believed to be a chapter from the Book of the Dead. In the same year, the nearly 4,300-year-old tomb of a man named Metjetju, an inspector of royal property, was announced. And then more shafts, more coffins, more statues, more mummies, each announcement arriving with the calm regularity of a country that has grown accustomed to finding its past every time it puts a shovel in the ground. But Saqqara is a dedicated archaeological site. The discoveries there are the product of intentional excavation. What happens in the rest of Egypt, in the cities where people live and work and build, is something else entirely. In Alexandria, the sarcophagus found beneath the building site in 2018 was only the most dramatic example of a pattern that plays out constantly. Alexandria was founded by Alexander the Great in 331 BCE and served as the capital of Ptolemaic Egypt for nearly 3 centuries. Beneath its modern streets lie the remains of palaces, temples, harbours, and burial grounds from one of the richest cities of the ancient world. Construction projects in Alexandria routinely hit archaeological layers. Ministry observers are stationed at building sites across the city, watching the dirt as it comes out of the ground. In Luxor, the ancient city of Thebes and its surrounding necropolis, form one of the densest concentrations of monumental architecture on Earth. The Valley of the Kings, the Valley of the Queens, and the temples of Karnak and Luxor are surrounded by modern communities, whose homes and roads sit directly above unexcavated tombs. In 2022, the tomb of Thutmose II, a pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, was discovered during clearance work in a wadi west of Luxor. It was the first royal tomb from the New Kingdom period found since the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb exactly 100 years earlier. The entrance had been hidden beneath flood debris that had accumulated over millennia. In Giza, the situation is even more compressed. The modern suburb of Nazlet al-Saman presses directly against the plateau where the Great Pyramids stand. In 2019, police investigated a house in the neighborhood, where the owner had been illegally excavating beneath his own building, searching for artifacts. What he found instead was an ancient tomb. He fled before being arrested. The tomb, accidentally uncovered while he was looking for something to sell, was documented and secured by the authorities. This is the tension that defines modern Egypt. It is a country with the largest concentration of monumental ancient architecture on the planet, a population of over 100 million people, and a modern economy that requires roads, sewers, housing, and infrastructure. All of these needs compete for the same narrow strip of habitable land that has been continuously occupied for 5,000 years. Every new highway extension risks cutting through a burial ground. Every high-rise foundation risks punching into a tomb shaft. Every sewer line risks intersecting an ancient water channel or a temple foundation. The antiquities observers stationed at construction sites across the country are not there as a precaution. They are there because it is a near certainty that something will be found. And what is found, in most cases, is not a headline. For every sealed sarcophagus or painted tomb that makes international news, there are dozens of fragmentary walls, scattered potsherds, and anonymous burial pits that are quietly documented and covered back over. The sheer volume of material beneath the ground makes comprehensive excavation impossible. There is not enough money, not enough time, and not enough trained personnel to excavate everything that surfaces. Egypt's Antiquities Ministry has estimated that only about 30% of the country's archaeological heritage has been discovered. The remaining 70% is underground, beneath cities, farms, roads, and open desert. Some of it will be found during future construction. Some of it will be found by archaeologists with the funding and the access to dig. And some of it, in the more remote or unstable parts of the country, may never be found at all. What makes Egypt's situation unique is not just the density of its buried past, but the depth of it. The archaeological record here does not span a few centuries, as in most European cities. It spans 5 millennia. The layers go from modern concrete, through Ottoman foundations, through Mamluk stonework, through Roman engineering, through Ptolemaic construction, through the New Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom, the Old Kingdom, and into the pre-dynastic period, an unbroken column of human activity reaching from the present day to the very origins of civilization. Every time a shovel breaks the surface, there is a chance it will hit something from any one of those layers. The question is never whether something is down there. The question is how old it is, how important it is, and whether anyone has the resources to deal with it before the construction schedule resumes. The sarcophagus in Alexandria was eventually opened. Inside were 3 skeletons submerged in reddish-brown liquid. The identities of the occupants remain uncertain. The building above them was eventually completed. And somewhere beneath another construction site in Egypt right now, another sealed coffin or painted wall or buried temple is waiting for the next shovel to find it. Thanks for watching. If this is the kind of exploration you want to follow, subscribe. There is more to come.